Welcome to Global Glob presents Level Debug, a show about news and stuff and things in the technology world. Recorded live June 15th, 2026, and I'm not left-handed. Before we start, we want to remind you to visit globalglob.dev for the latest news in software development, IT, and technology in general. Now let's get into all the news we've logged over the past week. 404 Media is reporting that Amazon delivery vehicles received an update which turns off the AC. The purpose is to conserve battery life when the drivers aren't sitting inside the vehicle. But the drivers spend more time outside of the vehicle delivering packages, causing the AC to shut off and let the cabin heat up. Amazon is choosing to classify this as a software bug because none of the drivers affected are attempting to unionize. At this time, Amazon has no plans to fix the software, saying their priority is reducing costs, and a cooled off cabin raises their electric bill. Moving on. This week, Apple held their yearly development conference, WWDC, which stands for Wild and Wacky Lowercase a Apple Development Conference. Yeah, that sounds about right. They announced a lot of UI stuff, AirPod settings, CarPlay apps, getting video support. The Mac will be able to resize the iPhone mirroring window, a preview of new child safety features, and I'm sorry, I'm not an Apple user. Like, this all sounds like really good stuff. Congrats to you, who I'm assuming you use their stuff, but I don't know what a lot of this means, except for the child safety features, which I think we all know means that iOS will block the words Android and Windows from any apps or websites. I guess they're not worried about Linux. Because WDC is a development conference, no hardware was announced. The big stuff comes in September, when they announce bigger iPhones and smaller sized but bigger weighted iPads. Look forward to that in September. Probably, usually, that's how that goes. Also announced last year but reminded during this WWDC is that Intel-based Macs won't be able to update to Mac OS 27. Obviously, they'll still work with Mac OS 26, but you really want to use it, I mean, it'll be old and busted. One of the keys sometimes sticks. I bet the battery life is down to like 14 hours. So if you still have an Intel-based Mac, congrats on your new paperweight. Moving on, this week, Anthropic released a new LLM model called Fable 5. It's a Mythos class model, so it's very expensive to use, but with all the good stuff stripped out. If you try to use it for anything cybersecurity related, it'll downgrade to a lesser model. But don't worry, you'll still pay the same price. It's a win-win for Anthropic, not for you. In related news, Microsoft is limiting employee use of Fable 5 because Anthropic has changed its data retention rules for the new model. They are storing prompts and outputs for 30 days and some up to 2 years. Even though Microsoft employees can't use the new model, Microsoft is offering it to its customers through GitHub Copilot and the Azure Foundry service, which is a win-win for Microsoft and Anthropic. Not for you. All right, moving on. GitHub has announced that the next major version of NPM will be getting some security changes when NPM install runs. By default, NPM will no longer run install scripts, resolve Git dependencies, or download files from remote URLs. Of course, if you want to, you can re-enable all of those features just to feel alive. Because what's a dependency manager without a gigantic foot gun? Moving on, a German court has declared that Google is liable for any false information it provides from its AI overviews. The reasoning being that Google is the one making statements, not just sharing links to what other people are saying. Google was sued after their AI overview said some publishing companies were tied to scams and shady business practices. And we at Global Glob can't wait to sue for all the misinformation they're spreading about us. Moving on, the cryptocurrency exchange company Coinbase has released a postmortem of their 10-hour outage that took place on May 10th. After some failures in AWS's US East 1 data center, their services did not have an automated failover to another availability zone. As a result, they had to manually move things over. Of course, the real failure is they used US East 1. That's the one that always goes down. It's a meme and everything. People are always making fun of it. The US East 1 data center is in Virginia, which is for lovers. Instead, everyone should be using US East 2, which is in Ohio. And Ohio is also for lovers. There's that song, Ohio is for lovers. It's okay, listen, one of them is for lovers, and that means you definitely should or shouldn't use it to host your cloud services. I think that clears things up. Moving on, Alex Karp, the CEO of Palantir, has said that AI companies, quote, don't understand how unlikable they are, end quote, which might just be the best real world example of look who's talking. Karp specifically called out OpenAI, saying they are attempting to replicate Palantir, which is probably true given how often people protest when OpenAI or Palantir want to put something in their neighborhood. Yep, all that. Mhm. Yeah. All right, speaking of people everyone hates, let's talk about Mark Zuckerberg. The CEO of the Facebook company, legal name Meta, announced an AI hackathon for next month. As a result, employees of the company are angry, frustrated, and only sober if they need to be. After all the recent layoffs, many employees are too busy doing their jobs and the jobs of the people laid off to be able to participate in a hackathon to develop new products for the company. One employee said if they have to, they'll finally add a dislike button to Facebook. It's easy to implement and is the most requested feature. And that's all the news that happened this week. Oh, sorry. Nope. Okay. Missed one. Uh, one more CEO. Elon Musk is in the news this week, but it's okay. This time it has nothing to do with non consensual pornography, condemning hundreds of thousands of people to death, being high on an ambassadorial trip for the government, or just being weird. This time he made a ton of money. It's all assets, so it's like money on paper. It's not in his bank account, but close enough. He basically has it. I mean, considering how bad it usually is when he's in the news, this is good. This is better, at least, right? Compared, at least. All right, and that is all the news that happened this week. If we didn't talk about it, it's not in the logs. Before closing out, we want to let you know that there will not be an episode next week, and possibly, but we're not sure yet, maybe not the week after that. We'll all find out at the same time, which I guess makes this the last June episode. So, happy Pride, everyone. Join Log Level Debug next week when we'll talk about everything that happened between now and that, or not next, like 3 weeks, between now and those 3 weeks. And if you enjoyed the show, tell your friends. And if you didn't, tell your enemies. For more news before the next episodes, remember to visit globalglob.dev for hard-hitting news technology professionals really care about. If you watch the video, please like and subscribe. If you listen to the audio-only podcast, please leave a review somewhere. Anywhere, but please, somewhere. Until next time, go twiddle some bits.